So in the last video we got the question answer to the point where we had a table like this, a two-column table with information from this scenario and then the benefit of the health and safety management system. From there, I'll just show you what I did is each of the, well, not all of them. I've got like 15 points here and I didn't use all of them. I think here I've got about 10 points, and basically just turned each point from here that I wanted to use into a more normal sentence, taking care not to copy and paste. So for example, on this first point I've got the organisation that owns the store has 100 stores nationally and 10 in your area, and my point here was that the health and safety management system will help to implement the health and safety across all sites in a more consistent way. So what that looks like as a sentence is, as the company has multiple sites, a health and safety management system will help them to implement their health and safety policy across sites in a standardized and consistent way, avoiding possible confusion and or duplication. And then I just carried on basically doing that until I had 10 points. But I didn't end up being particularly happy, because let me show you, if I put that into a word counter, what we end up with is 325 words. And I felt like for 10 points, what you should always try and do if you can is, if the question is worth 10 points, try and make 12 points so that you're hedging your bets a little bit. So if a couple of your points are wrong or don't score marks, but you've got 12 points, you could still end up with an answer that's gaining full marks. I caught myself saying things like a health and safety management will, and then making my point, and then again down here a health and safety management system would help, and then making my point. What I decided to do is, using the methodology that I've already been through on previous videos that I'll put a link to, I wanted to kind of make the same points but in fewer words. So what I did was put a health and safety management system will, so I'm just saying that once, and then I can go on to just go straight into my point. So a health and safety management system will help them to implement their health and safety policy across their multiple sites in a standard and consistent way, avoiding possible confusion and or duplication. Include active and reactive monitoring, helping the organisation respond effectively to the current frequent near misses involving forklift trucks by investigating them properly and uncovering underlying and root causes. Lead to a reduction in costs associated with damage to products, etc. So I'm not having to say on every point, repeating the same words of a health and safety management system will help by blah blah blah. I'm just making that introduction up at the top there once, saying a health and safety management system will, and then I can be a bit more succinct, let's say, with my answers. So what that ended up with is, if I copy and paste this second version into the word counter, what I ended up with here was something like 263 words and still 10 points. So the same 10 points are there that I was making in the first draft, which was 325 words. But what this then allowed me to do was squeeze in a couple more points here, because when I read through it again, I realised that with the extra words that I've now created for myself, I hadn't spoken about the cycle of continuous improvement by following the plan, do, check, act methodology, because I linked that to the planned review of the health and safety performance. Because you read the scenario, included in the scenario, it says that you have now planned or agreed with the health and safety inspector that you will review health and safety performance by internal and external comparisons, etc. So I wanted to make a point on that. Having space now, creating these extra words allow me to do that. And then another point, to improve documentation control, which is currently poorly managed, as there have been no records kept relating to previous incidents involving collisions. So when I look back at the table, I hadn't actually said anything to address a particular point 5 on the table. So basically, with the first draft, 10 points, 325 words. With the second draft, basically 12 points in there now. And if I copy that, paste it into the word counter, that's 12 points with 307 words, plus it's given me that little bit of safety. It's 12 points, but I can afford to get 2 of those points not scoring and still come away what would be a good crop of points, in my opinion anyway. I think what I would do if I was doing this as part of if I was doing it for real in an exam situation, I'd be leaving it there and going on to the next question. If you, again, I'll post a link somewhere on the screen to a video where I talk about taking things in stages. What I've got here, my second draft, like, I think it's okay. It's not 100% where I want it to be though. Like, I think I could improve it, and I would, but I'm not gonna get myself bogged down now. Like I said, I'd leave that as it is, carry on with the next questions. And just to remind you what I would do, I'd get every question kind of like first draft stage, where it's like a table, and I'd do that for all of the questions. I refer to this as a rough cut. Then go and get it to this kind of stage, or across all questions, stage where it's an answer. You could submit it as an answer. You couldn't submit that as an answer. That's the bare bones, that's the infrastructure, if you like. That one you could submit as an answer, but it's not where I want it to be. But if I gave myself time, for example, later on in the evening, or even getting up early in the morning, because you don't have to submit until 9 a.m. the following morning, so you could get up nice and early on the following day and give yourself a good sort of 2 to 3 hours where you go through. So you've already got a full answer paper ready to submit if you need to, but you've managed your time effectively. You've given yourself the luxury of going through each answer and just putting the finishing touches to it after having had a really good night's sleep, hopefully, and you're alert and you're fresh and your mind is able to maybe pick out areas where you could make a few % increase in quality of your answer. I'm going to leave it there. I think I'll leave this. If you want to pause the video and sort of take a look through this and read what my answer is. Is it perfect? No. Do I think it would get a good crop of points? I think so. I'd be happy to submit that as is if I didn't get a chance to review it. Anyway, hope it's helpful, and if you've got an exam coming up soon, all the very best with it. I hope you've got some value out of the video that you've just seen. If so, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to the channel so that you can be alerted to when we produce and upload more videos.